They got to figure out what they're going to get charged. Do they charge 50% more? Do they charge double? Do they even ship them?
What should we be expecting in the Switch 2 generation as far as how much we're going to be spending on these games?
Yeah, I would say that we're not really looking to establish a benchmark.
This is basically an economic Armageddon coming to tech.
What is going on, everybody? I hope you are all doing well today. I am joined once again today by Spawncast legend Josie Woah. Josie, how are you doing today amidst the crazy hype that is Nintendo Switch 2? It has finally been unveiled. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm great. I'm ready to talk about it. I think there's a lot to talk about. I mean, I've gone through, I feel like, every single emotion with this console, right? We started out super hype. Then more information came out, and it was a little bit disappointing in some ways and stuff, and we'll get into that later. But I think overall, still very excited for the system, but also very, I guess, intrigued as to how Nintendo is going to handle everything else.
Yeah, I think everybody's hand is on pins and needles right now because the Direct was great. Like, the Direct by itself, amazing. But the fact right now with pre-orders being halted and just all the craziness going on, we're definitely going to get into it as we go along with this discussion. But yeah, everybody's kind of on pins and needles right now because everybody's like ready to, because I'm not going to lie, I mean, I'm ready to go ahead and pre-order this thing. That way I can just secure it and be like, okay, it's coming, I'm gonna have it. But it just seems like, you know, everybody's just on pins and needles right now. But yeah, so we'll just kind of start off just kind of like with the first thing that just kind of came to my mind while watching that Direct is the lineup of games for this particular iteration of Switch is so much better than the Switch 1. Because the Switch 1 had, like, Breath of the Wild, which was great if you're a Zelda fan. But then it had really nothing else. You could argue 1-2 Switch, but not a whole lot of people were really into that. At least I wasn't. I don't know about you. But like
No.
yeah,
Not at all.
right. So, but the lineup of games this time is so much bigger. You know, we have, you know, Mario Kart World coming on launch day. A month later, we have Donkey Kong Bonanza. Can't wait to hear you gush about that.
Oh yeah.
And then later on, we still don't have a release date, but Metroid Prime 4 is coming later this year. Hyrule Warriors, Age of Imprisonment, Pokemon Legends Z through A, Kirby's Air Riders, Hollow Knight Silk Song is real. Oh my gosh, it's real. It was in the Direct for 2 seconds, but it's real.
I love how they just threw it in there. That was so funny.
So yeah, but the lineup of games this time is so much bigger, and I'm really glad that they're like literally coming out. They're not holding anything back with this. So what did you think about just the overall Direct in general and just the strong lineup of games that they're presenting?
I thought it was great. Yeah, the Direct itself, I was very, very positive on. I mean, I gave that thing like a freaking 10 out of 10. Like, one of my favorite Directs of all time, for sure. The lineup, I think it's been a little bit of a divisive thing because some people have been saying that the Switch 2 lineup is a little bit not as hard hitting, I think, at least in the first year as the Nintendo Switch 1 was, but we have yet to figure it out. We don't really know what's coming for the rest of the year, but I think, like, as of everything we know, DK is one of the hypest announcements I've ever seen in my life. I lost my mind. DK is beautiful. I'm so excited about that game. DK, we have Mario Kart World, which, setting aside the price point, it looks like just an amazing step forward for Mario Kart. I'm very excited to see like that game, especially in the upcoming Direct, and then as well as GameCube support out the gate. Things like that are like massive, and yeah, I mean, I think it'll just kind of be something we have to see as to, like, if it can live up to how exciting the Switch was, but it's shaping up to be pretty sick, in my opinion. And as a whole, like, the freaking Direct was so good. Like, it was paced well, banger after banger after banger. FromSoft is making an original game. Elden Ring's coming, Cyberpunk, Street Fighter. Like, it's getting that support we wanted on every front, I think.
Yes, and I think that's what a lot of people were really worried about. And to all the people and this is something that Nintendo really shocked me on, because I really wasn't expecting for them to go here. Nintendo has officially hit 4K. I was very 50-50 on whether or not, because Nintendo's never really cared about power. All they've cared about is delivering, you know, fun games, which is nothing wrong with that. I mean, they've sold me on that concept for a long time. But when I saw that overview trailer and I saw that the system was going to be 1080p, 60 frames per second in handheld mode. And then as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, it's a 4K system. Like, even before they showed the dock, I was like, there's no way. Like, you dock this thing, it's going to be 4K. And when I saw it officially, I was like, wow. Oh my gosh, Nintendo is actually there. They basically have jumped back on par with their competition, which they had been behind on power for, give or take 20 years. That was such a big surprise.
Yeah, 4K is, yeah, I completely agree. 4K is a crazy step, and I'm really happy that Nintendo's gone into that because the Switch, as great as a console as it is, it's starting to feel dated, right? And 4K feels like the future of games. It feels like everything is really starting to be in 4K right now and just like a new standard in a way. So I'm really happy that Nintendo is finally meeting all of the other consoles where they are. And like, also, the possibility of 120 frames a second gameplay is massive. I mean, this thing is running so much better than the Nintendo Switch one is just already right out the gate, and it feels like at least hardware-wise, they've really done everything right here, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about all the announcements that were done. Our most hype announcement, I'll start with you because I think I know what it's going to be. What was your most hype announcement in this whole Nintendo Direct? Go for it, Josie. I'm ready.
It was Donkey Kong Bonanza. I was in disbelief. I honestly thought Nintendo had forgotten about Donkey Kong. I mean, we've had Tropical Freeze for like 11 years. Like, and that's it. Like, nothing about Donkey Kong, you know? So seeing him come back and have a 3D moment is crazy. I recently made a video talking about how excited I am about this game, and just to not keep us here for 40 minutes talking about only this game, just want to say that I absolutely love it and I'm very excited. And I think DK taking another step into 3D after what happened with Donkey Kong 64 is fantastic. I mean, that game 64, like, you know, destroyed people's faith in the idea of a 3D DK. So I'm hoping this can reinstill it. It looks like Mario Odyssey. There's rumors that it's like the Mario Odyssey team working on it as well, or people from that team. So I feel like they just handled this game with a lot of care. The destructible environments. Oh my god, like everything. I watched the Treehouse presentations and I was in awe.
Yeah,
Good.
I was too. And to be honest, like they threw me for a loop because I mean I think I don't know if you were thinking this because I surely was thinking. I was like, oh, it's obviously going to be 3D Mario. That's what they're going to end with. And
Oh yeah.
And when I saw that opening shot, I was like, oh yeah, this is 100% 3D Mario. And then I saw the monkeys and I got to thinking, what is this? And then I was like, oh boy, they're actually doing a 3D Donkey Kong. And so, and so, you know, I think for Donkey Kong fans, this is amazing. I'm definitely going to be playing it. I don't know if I'll be playing it day one because there's other games that are coming later that I kind of would like to save my money for. We'll get to price later. Anyway, but yeah, Donkey Kong Bonanza, I was such an out of left field for me anyway. I was not expecting another 3D Donkey Kong game because I think a lot like you know, I had heard the rumors and the speculation, but, you know, I had sort of also kind of given up hope that would ever actually go full 3D. So I'm happy for the Donkey Kong fans. So that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of what
was your favorite?
I was not expecting a sequel to Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity and for them to tell the prequel story of Tears of the Kingdom with Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. If you go back and watch my reaction to that, I lost my ever-living mind. As soon as I saw the mural and I saw the Koei Tecmo logo, I was like, we're getting a sequel to Age of Calamity, and I was losing it, and it looks like it's going to, if they only teased it for just a little bit, but it looks like along with the classic Warriors gameplay that we know, it looks like we're going to have playable segments to where we're going to be able to freely explore as Zelda, and I'm really looking forward to that. So that's going to be really awesome. So I'm very, very excited for Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. So what'd you think of that?
Yeah, that was such a left field announcement. I like really didn't think that they would do something like that, but then like thinking about it, Age of Calamity wasn't like that the highest selling Warriors game like ever, right?
Yeah, it did really well upon launch, and a lot of people, and I immediately started theorizing, you know, because I didn't think they would take the avenue they did with this, you know, just making it an actual prequel to Tears of the Kingdom. I thought they might, because if you don't know, in Age of Calamity, it kind of veers off into its own story and kind of its own thing. It promised to be like the actual telling of the events before Breath of the Wild, but the ending of it is very different than how things turn out.
Yeah, I think it's the perfect time to explore and see, like, know more of the story. I really liked Age of Calamity. I didn't end up finishing it because I do kind of not totally love, like, Warriors gameplay. I just feel like it's a little repetitive. But I'm definitely willing to give this game a try. It looks great, and maybe this is the game that throws me into the Warriors franchise. I'm really curious how they price it. Like, honestly. We'll get in the pricing conversation, I'm sure, later, but I'm just like, I think that's going to be a big determining factor of how well that game does.
Yeah. And so, along with Age of Imprisonment, we also got the announcement of GameCube NSO, and along with that,
oh my god,
Wind Waker is finally coming to the Switch. Not as HD, that's fine. At least it's on the darn system now. I'm so happy about that. And it'll be there day one. So what did you think about GameCube NSO finally coming over? That was such a surprise. That was such a surprise.
I was so excited. GameCube. Well, I honestly didn't think it was gonna happen because they've been remastering so many of those games. So I just assumed that that it wasn't even a possibility. So to see it here was crazy cool. The GameCube is like one of the systems I unfortunately have like sort of missed because it was like I was really, really young around the GameCube time, and so I just didn't really experience it too much. So I'm super excited to dive into that library and stuff. Wind Waker being, like you said, on the system in any way is huge. And I mean, like, we get Twilight Princess on that thing, and we have every major Zelda game on the system, which is just huge for legacy content. And then, like, F-Zero's GX coming is insanely cool. Like, I've messed around in that game, but I've never actually, like, gotten really into it. So I'm looking forward to doing that. And just the GameCube library as a whole is amazing. It's where so many franchises started. So seeing that is going to be like Animal Crossing, like the OG Animal Crossing, like it's going to be so freaking cool. I'm really excited.
Yeah, this one's also really special for me because the GameCube was the very first video game system I ever played, going back to kind of my favorite Nintendo memories. That was the system that really started me into video games, period. It was the Legend of Zelda Collector's Edition and Mario Kart Double Dash. Those are the two games I had on the system when I was like 3 or 4 years old. And so the fact that I'm sure Double Dash is going to come to that library sooner or later, but the fact that they're bringing the system that started me into video games, period, on the Switch now is just super exciting.
What games do you want to see?
Let's see. Double Dash for one. We already got Wind Waker. Twilight Princess. I want Star Fox Assault. Star Fox Assault is my favorite Star Fox game, period. I know a lot of people regard 64 as the best one. No. Star Fox Assault, day one. When that comes to Switch, Nintendo Switch Online, I will eat that game to pieces when that comes out. So, yeah. Is there any particular NSO game you want to see on GameCube?
Probably Animal Crossing. I never played that original one, and I think Animal Crossing is a game that I can spend hours in, so I would just be interested to check it out. I feel like there's a lot on GameCube that I just don't even know. So most of the releases, I think I'll be playing and experiencing for the first time. So I'm very excited for just that whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of NSO, and it just really seems like Nintendo is continuing to confirm a theory that I have had for a long time. I made a video about 2 years ago, back when I was very, very small. I had like maybe 100 subscribers. But I made a really horrible quality video. But it was a theory. I basically said that before the Switch life cycle is over, this is before we had the announcement of Switch 2 or anything like that. This is back when it was like in the Switch Pro rumors. The rumors were all over the place. But I made a theory saying that before the Switch was over, we would have Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, GameCube. Eventually, they would find a way to bring over Nintendo DS, and that we would eventually have all of Nintendo in one place. And now it just seems like they're slowly doing that. And now with these mouse controls with the Switch 2, I could definitely see them bringing DS games over into NSO, and maybe finding a way to possibly port some 3DS games over. Like, it really does seem like before it's over with, before the Switch 2's life cycle's over with, all of Nintendo's going to be on one place. It would basically be Nintendo's own version of basically Disney Plus in a way. Disney advertises. Disney Plus is like all of Disney in one place. Nintendo would basically be able to advertise, yes, better graphics, more powerful system, but all of Nintendo's legacy content all in one place. And it just seems like that's where they're going now. They're continuing to confirm that theory, in my opinion. What do you think?
I completely agree. I think, yeah, I mean, the analogy of Disney Plus is perfect because that's like NSO could entirely be that. And yeah, I mean, DS makes a lot of sense. I was theorizing for a long time how they could do DS on the console because it it's hard kind of because it's like a touchscreen and all this stuff. But like you said, now with the mouse controls, I think it's more applicable than it ever has been. So I kind of expect DS to come. Maybe in like 3 or 2 years. It might take a while, just to get... They probably want to hype up GameCube for a while as well and start to build out that library. But, I mean, yeah. I mean, it's just like, what's after GameCube? Wii? Do we get Wii games or what's happening there? It's just, there's a lot of exciting things that they can do. So I'm looking forward to what NSO ends up being. And as long as they keep like a decent price point, which gives people value for their money, I think NSO could be very, very profitable for them.
Oh, 100%. NSO right now really is shining as like a beacon when it comes to price, because like on day one, those 4K expansions for Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, those are absolutely free if you have NSO. And then you have GameCube dropping on that day one, and then, there's definitely some pluses to having NSO, and I really hope that they continue to push that as like a price-friendly option later on down. As the Switch 2 is out and people are playing it, it would really, because right now it really does seem like NSO is becoming more of a friendly option now, compared to years prior. So, but one final game I wanted to talk about before we get into all the craziness, and that is Metroid Prime 4. We talked a little bit briefly in our previous discussion that I never got to post, but I was really hoping that Metroid Prime 4 would show up, and it did show up, and they showed up and showed out in such a big way. I am so pumped that this game is finally coming this year. I don't know if you had a chance to watch the Treehouse that they did for Metroid Prime 4, but it looks amazing. Like, I was absolutely blown away by what I watched. They showed the entire the first 20 minutes of the game. We got to see the game's opening, and when in the big battle, it looked like Star Wars that I was watching on screen. It was so cool. So I'm very excited for Metroid Prime 4 and everything they've shown so far. What are your thoughts so far of everything you've seen of that game?
I didn't super watch the Treehouse on it, but from what I've seen from all the trailers and a lot of the discussion around the game online, I'm unbelievably hyped. I mean, this looks amazing. This looks like the hugest step forward for Metroid, and I really hope that this allows the game to sell very well. I'm still intrigued to see if maybe they do something online based, because I think that would also help, just bring it to a mainstream audience. But as a whole, game looks fantastic. Just like the suit and all the weird mechanics that they've implemented here, the mouse controls that you can do, it looks really cool, and it looks like it fully takes advantage of the Switch. And then also, the craziest thing I thought from the entire Switch presentation, in a way, was the option for graphics or performance mode, which is crazy. Nintendo's never done anything like that. So this game is just shaping up to run beautifully, I think, too.
Absolutely, and I think it's also showing that, Nintendo definitely made the right choice of scrapping it back. Well, I don't know how bad it looked in 2019, but giving that game back to Retro Studios, which is where they should have put it in the first place, was the right move. And they're doing that franchise right, and they're bringing it back in a big way. And I'm so excited that it's finally coming this year. So, yeah. But now let's get into some of the controversy that has happened around this system, because literally we had that great direct and everything was great, and it just seems like after literally 10 or 15 minutes after the direct ended, chaos just went all over this system. And I thought it was really interesting because even like if you go back and watch my reaction, like literally at the very end I was like, okay, what's the price? And they're like, thank you for watching. I was like, but no price? What's happening?
Right.
What's happening here? And so the first thing, I mean, we'll talk about the extra things that are all impacting this, but I think the first mistake that Nintendo might have made is hiding the price so deep in all of their amazing trailers and down at the very bottom. Like you literally had to scroll to the very bottom to finally see it, and I was like, oh my gosh. So, but we'll talk about, so kind of what was your reaction upon seeing the price? Well, first off, if you guys don't know, I'm sure everybody who's watching this now already knows, the console is $450. What do you think of that price point?
I initially, when I saw it, didn't believe it because I thought, oh, that's really stupid. Nintendo wouldn't price their console like that weirdly. Because like the psychology of seeing a 4 over a $399 too, I'm like, what are we doing right now? So I always, in my head, it was always going to be $399. My chat was telling me it was $350 or $450, and I was like, no, you guys, this is just a rumor. It's not true. Then I go off stream, I look, and I was like, oh my god, they actually, like, it just feels like such a stupid misstep too. I'm like, $50 more is not worth it, dog. It's not worth it. Like, now I think people have recovered a little bit from the sticker shock. I for sure have, and I don't think that $450 is egregious for the amount of upgrades we have here. Like, the system itself is running really well. It's still cheaper than the PS5, but it's a lot less budget friendly, and it's weird how $50 can really be the difference between people loving you and freaking out on your system. And it's completely true. And it's just like, it's really, I think Nintendo's getting a little greedy this generation, and I'm a little worried, especially price point wise.
Yeah, I think they're also just a little out of touch with just the consumers in general, because when all of this chaos was happening and people were freaking out, Nintendo really didn't do anything or say anything. They just said, here it is, no tweets, no nothing. And you saw.
Well, and then when Doug Bowser explains it, he goes, "Oh no, you'll realize it's worth it," and it's like, there's such a disconnect.
Right, and one of the things that they should have done, in my opinion, because we still have that Mario Kart World Direct, because another thing that a lot of people are freaking out about is Mario Kart World being priced at $80 freaking dollars.
Oh my god.
That's insane. What I think they should have done, because Doug Bowser and even, I don't know if you know Bill Trennan, he used to be a former Nintendo Direct host. He's now like a vice president of Nintendo. That's pretty huge. But they interviewed him about Mario Kart World, and he said that there's a lot of stuff that, once you've seen the Mario Kart World Direct, you will come to see why, basically paraphrasing, but he basically said, you will see why we're pricing it like we are. And my thought after hearing that was like, just move the Mario Kart World Direct up. Just show it tomorrow. People are, like, because whenever, like, if you watch the Treehouse of Mario Kart World, it really didn't matter what it was. People were screaming in that chat, drop the price. And I'm just like, you have people who are, like, you've lost the trust of a lot of your consumers, and the best thing you could do, really, that what I think they should have done is move that Mario Kart World Direct to this week instead of waiting all the way to the 17th. So,
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the way that they've handled everything is weird. It also feels sneaky, I think that's why people were pretty upset as well, because it's like, why would you not tell us the price in the Direct? And then we find out, it's because it's like everything's super expensive. So that just feels like, it just feels bad. And I think that like Nintendo as a whole has lost a lot of consumer trust, like you said. I don't even know what they could do though with Mario Kart World that would make the $80 price point worth it for people, because that feels like PR speak, because it's like, every other game is not that expensive. I don't know what $80 is going to do to make something like that viable. Like, $70 is way more understandable. People have accepted that price point. But $80, it's unnecessary. And then I was like, I don't know if you know who Gene Park is, but he did, like, he's a journalist at the Washington Post. He's on the Spawncast occasionally. And he talked about Like, the whole industry wants to move towards an $80 price point. And this is Nintendo, like, stepping forward for the rest of the industry, basically, because, you know, budgets have been out of control for a lot of them. But that is a personal problem. The fact that budgets are out of control is not the consumer's fault. So all of it, all of the excuses are stupid. And it's like, inflation, sure. Wages, the same. So let's, like, there's a lot economically as well that people touch on, and it's like, sure, $80 is still ridiculous. Like, all of it is just, I don't know. It's crazy, and it's really unfortunate that it's taken away from the conversation of the game so much, I think, as well. It is exciting. There's great stuff, and I'm sure Mario Kart World is going to be an amazing game, but it's like, it overshadows everything else.
Yeah, and it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier, like, even, like, when they were showing Metroid Prime 4, like, in that treehouse, and I was being blown away by just all this amazing new footage that I was seeing. Like, it was, like, it's so cool what they were showing on screen. But I kept looking at that chat and it just spamming, drop the price, drop. Like, you have so many people just angry. And now we're having talks of that the price might actually go up due to the tariffs. If that happens, day one launch is going to be abysmal. It is going to be abysmal. And I really hope...
Well, I mean, it could be another Wii U situation.
Yeah.
Entirely.
Because there's talks that this thing could go up to possibly $600 to $700, and $700 for a gaming system is insane, absolutely insane. And
also for the console and the company that's traditionally more consumer friendly than the rest of them. I mean, it feels like Nintendo's just lost their way a little bit in the whole pricing situation. I feel like Reggie was the one who would keep them under control a little bit. Hey, we need to pack in Wii Sports. It shows off the console. Here, they're getting greedy. $10 for a virtual instruction manual
a paid
for the Switch Welcome Tour?
Digital game. That is, that's...
Like, are you joking?
But yeah, it definitely does seem like, again, that they're just out of touch. And, you know, I think it's also just kind of a wake-up call that, hey, bad things can still happen to you. Because, I mean, let's just face it. With the Switch, they've had 8 years of nothing but good news. Really. I mean, they've had hit after hit after hit after hit with the Switch. This is the first time in 8 years that they've been basically hit by a train wreck. That's basically what's happened. And, you know, when I saw that the price point was $80 for Mario Kart, my mind immediately went to, okay, what about the next big 3D Mario or the next big 3D Zelda? Because Tears of the Kingdom was their first priced $70 game. And so my thought is, okay, is the next big 3D Mario going to possibly go up to $90? Is Zelda going to possibly be $100? Like, what? Like, I don't even want to go there, but like,
when does it end?
Because they're talking about this whole thing about variable pricing. I don't know if you heard Doug Bowser say that.
Yeah, based on like the value of the game, which is like insane.
Like, there needs to be like a cutoff point. Like, this is as high as you can go with it, because if not, you're going to cut a whole lot of people off. And you know, and I've even said it in videos that I've made since then. The only reason I'm going to be able to get this system day one, assuming the price doesn't go up, is because I began saving for this thing like last year. And so,
me too.
So I'm ready to go for it, but I know like so many people were hit with just absolute shock, like you said, that, you know, people were ready, like, okay, $3.99 seems like it's going to be great. Oh my gosh, $4.50. Oh my gosh, $80 games. What the freaking heck? So...
Well, and then it's like the only thing that Nintendo can do right now, I think, to repair a little bit of consumer trust would be that tariff-wise, they go, okay, we're going to eat that cost, and we're still going to sell you this for $450. That makes them look like the good guy, and it's a little bit better, like, now after seeing, like, oh, it could be $600, $700 for this thing. But if they jack it up at all, consumer trust is on the floor. We have another Wii U situation. It's going to be bad. And, I mean, they already did something like this with the 3DS. So, like, you know, maybe they drop the price after it doesn't sell anything. I mean, it's really nerve-wracking.
Honestly, if they really wanted to earn a lot of people's trust back, drop the price to $400 and drop the price of the games to $70. Like if they like in a perfect world, that would repair a lot of trust immediately. They're probably not gonna do that, but it's really unfortunate that, because I said this in a video I'd made recently, that it just seems like all of this talk in regards to the tariffs and the pricing of things and everything, and it's not just Nintendo, the pricing of everything seems to like
literally everything.
It's about to shoot up, and it's really unfortunate of just the timing of things and how like just such because that direct, we all woke up that morning, that direct was amazing, just announcement hit after hit after hit, and then all of this mess hits, and literally just everybody's hype, really and truly. A lot of people, I have friends who I've talked to who I texted about this, and they literally have told me, I'm not getting the system. Like after all of this, like they're going to wait, and it's not like they're not excited, but just like their hype and everything has just been killed because of just what just the financial state of things.
And it's just like, it's so frustrating because it's like you guys had something so good on your hands with the Switch. You guys did such a good job being the consumer friendly option, always. And they had it seemed like they cared about their customers, but this feels so corporate and so anti-consumer in every way. And it's super disappointing to see from Nintendo. I know like right now we should the conversation should be about how exciting the games are, how exciting the hardware is looking, but all the news, all anyone is talking about is more shocking pricing information and scarier business practices that Nintendo's doing. It's really unbelievable. Because I woke up that day, I was so excited. I got through the presentation. I was like, this looks great. I got a root canal that day, which sucked. But then I was laying there and I was like, all right, we got the Switch 2. It's going to be good. It's a good day, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Open my phone after an hour of my teeth being drilled. Oh my God, $450 and $80 games.
Yeah, and it
sucks.
Yeah, it really is. Regardless of all the pricing craziness that's happening, where is your hype level concerning the Switch 2 still? Are you still super excited? Is it tainted a little bit? Where are you currently at right now?
I think I am in a somewhat fortunate situation where I've been being a content creator during this, so it's not all bad for me. A lot of the news sucks, but YouTube-wise, I'm pretty happy right now. So that's also helping, and I've been saving money from YouTube for this system and all of that stuff, so I know that I can support, that and support having content for it, which I am very excited for. But I think if I didn't do all of this, I would be pissed and I'd be in shambles, and I'm still not happy about it. I think it's taken a lot of the wind out of the sails for the Nintendo Switch. When I talk about the games, I get really excited, because I love how Donkey Kong looks. I love how Mario Kart World looks. I'm really excited to see more of that. I love what Metroid's doing. And I'm excited to see the GameCube games and all of that. So when I talk about that and that's the focus, and it's Switch 2, it looks so much better. It's a hardware wise, it's a really good system. It's super exciting. And my hype level can get to a 10. But I think just in general, with all of the information we have, I'm sitting at a 5. And it sucks. Yeah. It's super disappointing.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, my hype level, like you said, just when it comes to the games, when it comes to the system, I'm very excited. But, just my heart goes out to those Nintendo fans, to the mom who she knows her 10 or 11-year-old is super excited for this thing, and they know that they're not going to be able to afford it. My heart goes out to those people because they won't be able to get it on launch day, or and even if the price goes up, even in the holiday season, they still may not be able to afford that, and that breaks me, because my family used to be in a bit of that situation too, where I wasn't able to get every single game on launch day. I had to wait and wait, I
talked about that in my video. I grew up getting Nintendo Selects. I'm I just can't even imagine trying to afford this as a kid at all.
Yeah, and you go back to kind of what you're talking about, how, Nintendo seems a bit more on the greedy side of things. You could really sort of, and I don't know if you kind of felt this way, but as I was watching the Direct, as hype as all those announcements were, it felt almost like a business meeting every time it would cut back to those three who were hosting it. It just looked like, like you said, people in suits and all this stuff. Like, there just seems like all
corporate.
Yeah, there was really no personality there. It was just like, here we are, here's the system, here's the games, here's the price, goodbye. Like, do you guys not?
Yeah, buy our product.
I mean,
that was it.
That's really what it felt like. I mean, if it wasn't for the Nintendo fan base being super hyped for like Donkey Kong Bonanza, or in my case, Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment, and all those great things, like, it really would have felt like a business meeting. That's really what it felt like, But yeah, my hype is still. I'll probably give my hype probably around a 7 or an 8, just because the games are still going to be great. I still have hope that I'm going to be able to get this thing on day one, but with all the financial chaos surrounding it, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. But didn't want to end this discussion on a low note. There's one game we really haven't talked much about yet, and that is Mario Kart World. Yes, it's $80 and all of that, but what are your thoughts on Mario Kart World? Just everything we've seen so far. The free roam mode is what I'm looking forward to the most, and also the Knockout Tour. I cannot wait.
Oh my god, I'm excited.
I cannot wait. I played so many hours of F-Zero 99, and that's kind of the whole gist of that game, is if you're not at a certain place by the time you reach this checkpoint, you would be eliminated. So the fact that they're doing that now for Mario Kart, I will be spending hours upon hours upon hours playing that, especially if it's online. So I can't wait to play that, especially, and also just the free roam mode. So what are you most excited for in Mario Kart World that we've seen so far?
Oh gosh, I'm excited for all of it. I mean, probably free roam the most. Just like the idea of this interconnected world is really cool to me. I love that Grand Prix have you driving from course to course. It looks awesome, and then also like the battle royale mode that they're adding there. Like, that'll be so much fun just to get into and stuff. And when I was watching the Treehouse, I was like, this looks great. Like, it's just it's fresh, it's new. I think I've been playing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for 10 years, so I'm just very excited to get a new Mario Kart in any capacity. I'm really, really intrigued as to what this Direct is going to show us off. I'm hoping like crazy story mode and like
boss fights.
Maybe a double dash mode, boss fights. Yeah, and like we haven't seen battle mode yet. Battle mode has been a staple of Mario Kart, so I'm curious like if that comes back or takes a new form. The characters look so funny and awesome. Like, I love that we can just play as a cow or like that skeleton fish thing.
Yeah.
Like, they're going all in on it, and which is just great. And like the courses look awesome. I don't know if you've seen that Donkey Kong course.
Yes.
Where you're like, it's traditional arcade Donkey Kong course. That is the best thing I've ever seen. I like, I'm so excited for that. And the wall jumping and everything, all the new mechanics. I mean, the whole game looks so cool. But I definitely think I'll have the most fun with just the free roam mode and the fact that you can jump in there with some homies and just like run around. It seems so cool.
Yeah, we'll have to do that at some point, especially after the game releases. Just go for I think that'd be awesome. Especially
go for a little drive and yap.
Yes, absolutely. Because I think one of the things that they have yet to show off, and I'm sure that, and again, just after all the craziness that's happened, there's a lot riding on this Mario Kart World Direct. I'm really hoping that, with this big expansive world, that there is definitely like some kind of story mode and maybe some boss fights, because they've done boss fights before with Mario Kart DS, so they could easily bring that back. It's definitely been done before. So I'm really hoping that they pull out all the stops. One of my favorite things I like what I've seen so far is, they have the tracks that we know and love, but then they design the free roam world around those tracks and they connect them. I really like that. That's really just like one track flows into the next. That's one of my favorite things that I've seen about the game so far. The pricing, though horrible, it's still a great time to be a Nintendo fan. Hopefully Nintendo will get pre-orders going back up soon, because now that you know, we have a 90-day pause on the tariffs. Now would be a time to go ahead and get those back up, get them rolling. Now would be the time, Nintendo. Jump on it, please. But anyways, Josie, thank you so much for joining me to talk about, you know, the highs, the lows, the chaos surrounding Nintendo Switch 2. Where can people find you?
On YouTube, you can see my videos at Josie Woah. If you like Nintendo, I do Nintendo stuff, retrospectives, retro games for the first time, Switch 2 stuff lately. Stepped up my production value. You can see that freaking rig back there. It goes super crazy.
Let's go.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. It's always fun to talk. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Yes, it's always a pleasure to have you. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. All of Josie's links will be in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until the next video or next live stream, take care, everyone.